違えたんだ多分だから一度外してそれじゃ解決しない事実は小説より気になりどうしたらいいんだこんな難しい質問だとは予測不可能だそうだよねじゃあ作戦じっくり立てるとしようかもしかして漫画の
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another review by Ryan. A very happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday, September 21st, and I hope you all are doing well at the time you find this reaction. In today's reaction, we are going to be saying goodbye to My Stepmom's Daughter is My Ex. It is the season finale today of this show, and just a couple thoughts that I want to say. First about last episode, and then, how I feel about where we have arrived at and what I'd like to see out of the finale. So first and foremost, I was very glowing last episode about the maturity and the growth that Yume went through, for the first time truly this entire season. And we had been seeing it build and build and build throughout the episodes, and we obviously had everything kind of crash on us when we saw how their relationship fell apart to start with. But between the two, it was very clear that the one who had the highest amount of growing and maturing to do was none other than Yume. And the episode 8, I think it was, when we saw the backstory behind them, really put into motion just the gravity of how much growing she had to do. And, one of the first things that we as people have to do when we make mistakes is to acknowledge that the mistake has actually been made. There are a lot of people who will be evil people to anyone, to people around them, to themselves, whatever, whatnot. They'll be bad people, and they'll never acknowledge that they were actually a bad person. And throughout this show, we have seen the conflicts that both Yume and Mizuto have gone through with each other, both for decisions that they made in relationship and outside in their relationship, and when they were and were not around each other, leading to their inevitable fallout. And so as they have become this family now because of their parents marrying, they were forced in a very quick amount of time to have to come back together and to have to tolerate each other. But, they had really not had a lot of time to move forward from each other. And they realized that there were a lot of mistakes that they made that they really did feel bad about, that they realized they may not have put their best foot forward and their best effort into ensuring their success as a couple. And this is a very common issue for young couples. When you're going through your middle school and high school years, you don't really know a lot about love. You don't know about the nuances of conflicts and how to navigate those waters. Now, there are some people like myself who are very, very mature at a very early age. But then you have people like what Yume and Mizuto went through, where they followed more or less the traditional path of troubles that a young relationship can fall through. And so that's why, even though a lot of people went in on Yume when the backstory came out and we saw that, she definitely crossed some lines with her anger, I was willing to forgive her as long as she grew, as long as by the end of this season we saw a definitive path forward, and that she, either by being called out or by acknowledging herself, seeing that, man, I was really fucked up with what I did, and I wish I could have done better, and I wish I could have a do-over. And for everyone who went on Yume, I really hope that you felt genuineness from how her interaction with him was. So they went to the family gathering. We got to meet Madoka, which she ended up thinking was actually his first crush, but it was not, and she didn't realize that the book that she read and everything that was in that story was actually basically about her. And, it's just one of those things that we needed this as a viewer to, if you still were holding on to any gripes or disappointment in Yume, to be able to forgive her. And then for me, I needed this as pretty much the catalyst of, okay, we finally have gotten to the stage of acceptance, crying it out, and confiding in each other that, hey, we really fucked up. We really didn't do a service to each other and give each other enough respect and time to actually work the issues that we had out. And I was really happy with Mizuto giving her that opportunity when he realized that she was cracking, and she's been cracking for the whole season, but she completely cracked and burned. And we needed this. She needed this. He needed this. They needed it to finally be able to get to a path of moving forward. And for me, I needed this so that I could also say, okay, we finally graduated from the older days of their lives, which wasn't really that long ago. And now we can move forward with a clear head, a clear mindset, and hopefully some type of path forward. So yeah, I was very happy with last episode. I think last episode was actually one of my favorite episodes of this season, and I think we're going into a good place as we enter into this finale territory. So you know, I really want to take this moment to say I am very happy with what we've gotten from this story. I really, really am. I think that the dynamics between Yume and Mizuto has been wonderful to watch. We've watched a young couple mature and learn from their mistakes and try to find a path forward that will work for both of them, while now, of course, having to also factor in their current situation, which I'm assuming is either going to be addressed or at least they will seal the deal with their commitment of trying to restart things. But of course, we know that there is a very big familia complication with trying to restart things. So I am still interested how they're going to navigate around those waters. So, but I'm very happy with what we've gotten from this show. It's given me just enough trash and a whole lot of wholesomeness that I've enjoyed each and every week of watching this anime. And I have a new best girl too for the season, Higashira, who actually will end up probably being one of my favorite girls out of any of my shows of the summer season. So, you know, I got a lot of good moments out of this show. I know that especially in the West, this type of show with this type of premise is not overly enjoyed, and that does reflect on Mal, but this was a very popular show in Japan and in the East throughout the season, and I kind of can substantiate that popularity. I know where my rating is, and it really can't go any lower than it's going to be, and it can only go up. Now, the highest that the season will get is a 9, and I'll talk more about that after we watch the final episode. But at this stage in the game, I'm just ready to get this out the way, get this done with, and see how this first season concludes. And I say that as if this is going to get a second season. I don't know if it's going to get a second season. Shows with this type of premise don't typically get second seasons, so it's highly doubtful we'll see a continuation in anime form. But if an anime continuation does come in the form of a second season, I will 100% watch it. This was a whole hell of a lot better than something like Rent a Girlfriend. So I will absolutely give a second season a watch for this show. So I'm going to go put some eye drops in these eyes real quick, and when I come back, which will be a split second for you, we'll get this started. All right, and I'm back, guys. It is time for the season finale of My Stepmom's Daughter is My Ex, episode 12. Let's go ahead and get this final reaction started in 3, 2, 1. Hey. Oh, and of course it's going to be a fireworks show. Hey. Monaco already knew what was going on. She realized real quickly. Look at my man, the Chad, the legend himself, with the same bland face. Why are you egging this man on like that? Of course he knows your password. He understands you better than anyone else around. Oh boy, let's get this final episode started. And in fact, we're going to see Hanabi. This is going to be exciting. Nothing like ending off a season like this with fireworks. Hey, it'd be nice to see Minami too. We haven't seen her in quite a number of episodes because my best girl Higashira has been taking over control of everything. Also, bring our guy back. We ain't seen the guy in even a longer amount of time. My goodness. Now that I think about it. But it's fine because we got some much needed character development and growth between our main couple. Hey, don't be that way. After y'all bonded moment, don't be that way. Don't worry. They'll be holding hands with it. See? See? Damn! Beat me to the punch! Yeah. Y'all need to stop. My man's like, this is such a drag. Yeah, you know you're getting off on this, my girl. Y'all needed that too. And in a way, that really was letting go of the entire first relationship and all the mistakes y'all made. Now, you really can have a fresh start. So, it's just the family situation. Well, I mean, I'm confident that no one's thinking of anything in the way that you think of things with Mizuto. So, yes, it's fine. Dang. Why y'all gotta bring my man into this? My man just trying to have a chill festival. Ain't trying to do nothing. Bruh, Madoka ain't nothing. She ain't nothing. Can I? My girl gonna fall. Yep. You might as well just let it fall. Why not? Hey! Hey! Of course not. Oh. Oh, see? Paying attention. Yes, you should have known this. My man's all about details. Come on now. Hey. Well, clearly, that's because he means something completely different to you. I mean, and he's not going to stop her. Yeah, remember that between him and Higashira, they're just natural. Oh. Oh, y'all fancy. Uh huh. Fancy, fancy. Uh huh. Oh, you don't understand how hard it's actually been. And she gonna take care of him all right. Wait, he's gone? Where'd my man go? Oh, that's right. He ain't trying to do stuff that's a drag. Mm. Go find your man. Yeah. Man, that was still hard to see him have to turn my girl down like that. But it was for a justifiable reason. Mm. I still have no idea well his phone won't die. My man was a little nervous. Yes. Again, this is so good to see her acknowledging when she misunderstood something. You didn't understand anything. And you know? Yeah. Hey, becoming a couple typically is only the first step. And the fact that you can realize these issues now shows great maturing on your part. I'm proud of you. I really am. Mm, yeah, I feel that. Yeah. Tell you, the power of a good book. It can be that way. Hey, I'm watching something fictional. I agree. It can be that way. He just didn't understand. See, he had a lot of growing to do too. Oh. Oh. Oh, they're in such a bad situation. No. Now y'all are on the same wavelength. 100%. Wow, remembers the exact date. Because of course he wouldn't forget something like that. Yeah. On the same wavelength, through and through. I cannot with you too. 100%, and I agree. I agree. That would have been the case. And that tends to happen that way. At least he's honest about that. Yeah. And that's all that matters in the end. I really respect the honesty here. Is it the best way to make a person feel good? No, but it's honest. Uh, oh, oh. All right. But it's just a matter of where do we go from here? Boy, it's going to be complicated, that's for sure. And she knows what she's egging on. Huh. I just feel like all these people already know. Huh? Bruh. Bruh, what was discussed? I feel like someone know. People know. Bruh. A lot. Yes. Dang. Dang. Wow. How did we? I'm done with the ball of y'all. Oh my goodness. Dang. Dang. Don't worry, because y'all gonna make up too. Have no fear. If only you knew. Oh man, what a mess. I mean, but eventually, and all I have to say to that is how is it going to be rewritten in a way that they'll be able to? Because it's clear certain family members clearly are in or aware that there is something else. But of course, we didn't see anything on screen saying as such. So, okay, so my final opinions of the show. So, first off, that ending more or less solidified that we probably will not see a second season. They kind of wrap that as kind of a way of they're going to rewrite the story, aka go read. So I'm going to treat this as if this is the last time we'll ever see this in anime form, and we'll go from there. So first and foremost, last episode was definitely the episode that sealed the deal on their past, and they were finally able to have their emotional moment and make amends with each other for the mistakes that happened in the past. This final episode was definitely meant to target the future, to have their second first kiss, and to say that they are not going to try to remain focused on all the mistakes that they made, but they will now move forward in trying to build a new tomorrow, which obviously they want to build that new tomorrow with each other. She also now, did the whole declaration that she's no longer her, but she's now Irido with the last name now, and so she wants to share that bond with him on a very different level. And it's just complicating. The word complicating has been what I've used this entire season, especially as we got to the second half of the show and we got to see the different dynamics that was going in. Now, first off, I gotta say, for Mizuto and the way that he looks and perceives life, at his age, was honestly very similar. And in a way, how I perceived life back in middle school and high school kind of did shape the way that I go through life even now to this very day. I haven't been in high school, and I'm 30 now. I haven't been in high school since 18, so it's been almost 12 years since I was last in public education, and I gotta tell you, I haven't really changed much with my thought process from then to now, because there's certain bits and pieces about your personality that always stay with you. But obviously, it was one of those situations where he found someone who helped break the ice on the normality of things, on things that he did not understand, something that he was willing to give a try with. And she was making him feel emotions that he did not understand, but he found interesting enough. Even beyond that, though, what he said when they were talking, prior to the fireworks starting and their second first kiss happening, what he said was pretty much was very straightforward and realistic, and it's the age-old answer to a lot of relationships, as far as if you might have come across someone that you would have worked out with in the past, but you didn't shoot your shot, and then you stumbled across somebody better later. Really, this was a situation where we really had two girls that equally had a good chance with him, and that he knows would have been very successful relationships. Now, in my opinion, I kind of do wish Higashira had been the first one to be found. This would have been a whole hell of a lot less complicating now. Now, it is possible that Yume could have still then had a big brother complex, but like what's happening with someone like Sachi and a couple of Kakus. But it would have been more simpler to deal with. And it's very clear that Mizuto and Higashira has this really great chemistry about themselves that I think would have meshed very well. But that is not the way that the cards were laid out, and the cards were laid out in a way that set Mizuto and Yume on the path that they now find themselves on today. So what did we leave this episode and finale without true answers to? what their base, it comes down to one basic thing. What are they gonna do now? What does the future hold for them, since they share the same family now and they, at least to my knowledge, haven't conversed to the parents that, hey, we used to have something and we still have those feelings and emotions. Now, I don't know what she spoke with the grandma about, and and obviously Madoka, she clearly knows that they have something deeper than just regular family sibling bonds, and she's egging it on. So again, I guess this is just what we support now. Definitely wouldn't work that way in families over this sin, because that would definitely be called incest. But I will say, though, that I feel that it ended as well as it possibly could. And this was I would say more or less a conservative way to end this than a very aggressive and abrasive on-screen confession to the parents, confession with the whole family together when they were still at the family house. And because that way, depending on how that went, it could have went really good or really, really bad, dependent on the family and the circumstances. And like I said, we could have potentially saw that if the couple, if the two are now married couple, wanted to let their kids have their own happiness, they could have potentially separated from themselves in the grand scheme of things. Well, separated from themselves in the end to be able to help their children be able to pursue whatever it is they want to pursue. So this could have went several different ways, but this did take a conservative ending to that, in which we basically ended in a similar fashion to how we began. The only situation now is they've had their crying, they've had their bonding moment, and they've had their first kiss, and they have now basically declared that they will start anew and see where this story goes from here. Now, again, this story could go several different ways. They could find a way to, explain to the parents what happened, and it is possible that if the parents gave the blessing or whatnot, that they could have this very not supposed to happen relationship, this very taboo relationship, and it could be internally supported by the family. Or it could be a situation where they realize in this second situation, in this second scenario of them trying again at having this bond with each other that's clearly more than siblings, they could realize in this time around that, hey, we have a lot of respect for each other. I love you, you love me, but we have to stop this eventually. And it could get to that point. And then we could hypothetically see at a later point in the future, someone like Higashira come back along, and we could still very well see. The crazy thing about it is I'm still not ruling Higashira out of this competition as a whole. I'm really not. Obviously, it's a 90 to 95% chance now that Yume and Mizuto will find a way to settle what's going on here once and for all, and that settlement will be them finding a way to be a proper couple again. But there is always that percentage that things could go in the way that when you are faced with a situation like this, it is supposed to go, which is you set the cutoff, and you set the barrier, and you set where lines that you can't cross. And then in that essence, it's almost certain that at some later point in the future, possibly if Mizuto ever finds a way to let her not occupy his heart in the way that she has up to this stage, then Higashira could definitely have a chance to come back in. So we have a number of different scenarios happening here, and it's very clear. I'll just have to go read, because I know that I won't see it in anime form, and I'll be very shocked if wake up tomorrow and find out, second season's announced anyway, and I'll be like, oh wow, okay. So yeah, but I am happy with this ending, and this ending solidifies what I believe has been a very solid show that presented a lot of great growth in characters throughout the second half, with the monumental moments of growth happening, obviously, in the last 3 episodes and our finale. So that's kind of that, guys. That is my raw thoughts here. And, I gotta say, it's one of those shows that I didn't expect it to get anything above a 6. And, well, as we're about to go into, my rating's going to be a whole lot higher than that. And for what I believe, really good reasons. So that said, we're going to go ahead and jump into the rating. So it is time for my final rating, and I'm going to put up on the screen what my criteria is. So 40% of the rating goes to story, And 20% goes each to storyboarding, music, and art/animation. And for the purposes of simplicity, I do combine art and animation combined. I will give each of the 4 categories a letter grade of between an A and an F. And then the final score will be given anywhere between a 1 out of 10 and a 10 out of 10 being the highest score. So, first and foremost, the story. This story had the possibility, and typically in stories like this, had the chance of getting really shitty really quickly. This story could have gone really downhill if they had stuck with a lot of immature messiness throughout. But we were presented with a whole lot more wholesomeness than I ever could have expected. Really, wholesomeness really trumped any other element that happened in this show. Yes, there was quite a bit of immaturity. Yes, we had the little typical sibling feuding moments. And, obviously one of the biggest negatives was when we saw how their relationship fell apart. However, it's a positive in the essence of this story because they wrote it in a way that it was very realistic to how many young couples falls apart. That was the defining moment of this season for me that solidified that this was actually a really good story. And that, unfortunately, it's sad that they're now in this familiar situation, but putting that aside, just the raw points of what young couples go through and the realization of immaturity and of the necessity of growth, and being able to move past that hurdle and move into another direction that will be positive for you and positive for those around you. That is always something I really like to see in a story. And even if they were not, and if this wasn't the scenario that we were faced with, I would say that this was a perfect story because, quite frankly, there are a lot of people that are adults. There are people that are my age. There are people that are far older than me that do not have the level of maturity and ability to accept fault like what Mizuto and especially Yume was able to accept in this story. So obviously, we're still faced with the hurdle of them being siblings who now still have love for each other. And they obviously exchanged in several romantic moments knowing that they are still siblings. Obviously, when there's a story like this, it is incredibly hard to give it a solid A because it's just messy in general because of the situation. But giving respect to how great they put together this story and the way that they put everything in place so that it actually cohesively was a well-watched production, I'm going to award the story a B+. And that's B as in Bravo. I believe this was a really good story and a story that I hope some people, putting aside the sibling part, really pay attention to and understand and see what's the proper way to go about resolving immaturities about yourself and accepting fault when you make a mistake. It is very important that when you realize you've made a mistake, accepting that fault, apologizing for that fault, and then moving forward to being a better person at the end of the day. That's all that matters at the end of the day. We saw that in great length in this second half of the season, and I was very happy with the story that we were given, all things considered. So definitely, this is awarded a B+. Storyboarding, I'm going to give an A-. I'm going to give an A- to storyboarding because I believe that the context of showing us kind of just in the family situation after the family was already together at the beginning of this show, and then slowly but surely putting the pieces together in a way that was great for the viewer to watch. And for me, I thought it flowed very well. They had an equal amount of flashbacks to an equal amount of present day events. And I really feel that they storyboarded everything in a way that was, in my opinion, near flawless, especially for a story like this. I'm very happy with what we got from how they arranged the story for anime form, and I'm going to award the storyboarding a B- on the grounds of the same things that I said about the story itself. The music, for shows like this, the music isn't going to be anything revolutionary. And what I expect is just good sound, good background music that helps set the mood and set the scene. for each of the scenes that are playing out through each episode. I do believe that this anime did a very good job of setting the scene and setting the scene properly, especially in these last couple of episodes and these very monumental moments of growth that Yume and Mizuto went through. And so on those grounds, I do believe that the music was very satisfactory for a show like this, and I will award the music a B. B as in Bravo. And you know, again, type of shows like this, they'll never get an A in the music category because you're not going to have anything groundbreaking like, let's say, what the music we have going on like Made in Abyss right now, which is literally S+++ rank, just ridiculous. But it was great for this story, and I was very happy with what we got to supplement the anime in the background. And last but not least, art and animation. Again, another thing that's not winning any awards, not by any means of the draw, but very fluid animation and art, very good character models all together. Faces were where they should be, body parts were where they should be, backgrounds were lush and good and drawn out very well, colors were what they needed to be, and it was, again, very well put together. Not winning any awards, but very well put together. So I will also award art and animation a solid B. B as in Bravo. So to recap, the story has received a B+, the storyboarding has received an A-, and the art and animation and music has all respectfully received a solid B as in Bravo. And so this does bring us to our final season score. I really, really am happy with this production. I know that at the time of this reaction, it has a solid 7 on my anime list, so it actually went up a couple of points courtesy of this finale episode, and I do believe that this show is going to end right at the 7 mark when it's all said and done. For a show like this is almost as high as a show with this type of plot can get. And I do believe from a collective community standpoint, that does show that the show executed its root principle, and it did it in a way that it wasn't awful. And in my opinion, it was really well done, especially coming into this story, because I didn't know what to expect coming into this and how I would feel by the time it ended. But I'm very happy with the production. I'm very happy with the story. Higashira is my absolute best girl, and I loved every bit of her on screen. And above all, the maturing and growth between Yume and Mizuto definitely stood out at the end of the show. I'm going to award this show an 8.5 out of 10. I really do think that they did a really good job portraying a very complicated story with young people, young adolescents, who are trying to navigate a very tumultuous time in their life, all while now having to find out that they have become family members very shortly after they had their cataclysmic fallout back in middle school. And throughout these 12 episodes, we really saw a lot of growth, a lot of maturity, a lot of love, and a lot of wholesomeness, and a whole lot of boobs. But that last part was just kind of an addition to everything, which basically was Higashira, because my goodness, that girl was just crazy. But that's kind of how I feel, guys, and I'm very interested to hear how all of you felt about this finale. Was this finale to your satisfaction? Please let me know. Drop some comments in the comment section here on YouTube or wherever I post this video, and definitely let me know how you felt about the show. Bad and good comments are equally welcome as long as you're respectful. And with that said, this is going to go ahead and wrap up my season finale reaction to this show. So thank you so very much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate you sticking through this with me for the last 12 episodes and through the entirety of the season's run. If you did like this reaction, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. And if you want to be one of the first to be notified when a new reaction becomes available, hit the bell icon. It's been an absolute joy watching My Stepmom's Daughter Is My Ex with all of you. And whether or not we get another anime or not, I do hope you will continue, if you do choose to read, continue to enjoy this story in whatever direction it chooses to go. So until my next reaction, and until next time, catch you later.
Oh